when I walk through, when I walk through. We're doing a little different today because I have a sneaky suspicion that even though I put these videos up or I alert you guys, 5 hours in advance that I'm going to go live, that it's still only when you get the notification that you're like, oh yeah. So if I start the video a full 13 minutes before it's supposed to start, then give you guys like another 10 minutes, then I'll have gone live for like, maybe about 30 minutes and then more people will come into the room. So that's what we're doing. Domestic Gordita, hey girl, hey. How is you? Hope you're well. Just getting prepared. So for those of you guys who are not watching this live, I'm going to have to give you a different timestamp because we're not going to start until like 13 minutes in. So right now it's 5:47. 30 minutes in. So right now it's 5:47. So that math is 3 minutes till 50. That would be 6:20. So we'll start about 6:20. Great. I'll change the timestamp. Hard to know. Hello, Lucy. Hi, girl. Okay, I'm going to be putting on some makeup because as I just said, which you guys did not hear because you just entered the room, is I'm going to give everybody like 30 minutes to get in here. So we can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. Should I write that across the should I scroll that across the screen? Live starting at 6:20, so don't at me. Live recap. Recap will begin at 6:20 p.m. Add banner. Oh, great. Well, that's what that made it. It's not a ticker. It's just that. Okay, great. So in the meantime, in between time, we're going to just kiki. I'm going to put on some makeup and we're letting people come into the room. Should I sing? Let me get the song together. It's 6 p.m. in the evening. It's time to talk 90 Day. I don't know the words. Here we go. First, let's do the voice recorder thing so that I can hear the song again because I haven't sang it since last week. Okay, here it is. 6 p.m. in the evening, it's time to talk 90 Day. Stopping by to have a kiki, drama the other way. Set the time and the day. Oh, it's 6 on Sunday. That's my favorite part, obviously. Or after play game. Either way, you made my day. Here, let's do it again. 6 p.m. in the evening, we're here to talk 90 Day. Stopping by to have a kiki, drama the other way. Set the time and the day, 5 after 6 on Sunday. Catch me live or hashtag replay game. Either way, you've made my day. Let's try it again without it. 6 p.m. in the evening, we're here to talk 90 Day. Stop on by and have a kiki, drama the other way. Set the time, set the date, 5 after 6 on Sunday. Catch me live or hashtag replay game. Either way, you've made my day. Okay? Thank you. Melida, thank you so much. I support it. I love the support. Okay, I'm going to go get my mirror. And then what y'all want to talk about? We can talk about anything. How many people? 19 people in the room. Thank you for the like on Facebook. I appreciate it. Again, as it says right here, recap will begin at 6:20 because I want everybody to come into the room. I want to have a full, robust audience. I feel like I should play music, but then it would have to be music that is sanctioned. All right, let me go get my mirror. It's because I'm gonna do my makeup. 6:05 on Sunday. Replay game. Either way, you've made my day. Okay, 6:05 on Sunday. You've made my day. Hello, Sean. Lucy passed the plate. La 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 la. As usual, I'll leave this down, just so I don't forget about it. So what should we chat about? That's what I want to know. What are we gonna did you guys see that Jeffrey from whatever season he was with Varia is got in trouble for kidnapping and assault and other crazy shenanigans? And then Varia deleted her entire Instagram, girl, after that verdict came down. And Natalie is on the interwebs just supporting this man. And that is quite unfortunate for her. She is not understanding where the United States currently stands on any type of domestic violence or anything like that. She is 90. Let me put on 90-day podcast if you guys are interested, because they give all the tea, tea. Okay. Jeffrey Pascal has been found guilty on all counts. A former reality TV cast member is on trial for an alleged domestic dispute incident involving his ex-girlfriend. Jeffrey Ian Pascal became a social media sensation after appearing on the hit show TLC 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. The father of four is accused of physically assaulting his then-girlfriend on June 9th, 2019. According to an affidavit, the victim claims an intoxicated Pascal grabbed her by the neck and slammed her head against the wall several times before throwing her to the ground. The woman fled to a neighbor's home where police found her when they arrived. Officers noted visible injuries, including a large raised bruise on her forehead and abrasion on her elbow and knees. A paramedic at the scene reportedly said she displayed common signs of a concussion. Authorities say when they confronted Pascal, he claimed the woman's injuries were self-inflicted. He was initially taken into custody without incident, but according to the affidavit, he attempted to kick out the window in the patrol vehicle. Pascal was ultimately charged with kidnapping, domestic assault, interference with an emergency call, and vandalism. After fans learned of the charges, they were petitioned TLC to remove him, and he was dropped from the tell-all, and we all know this. So yeah, he was found guilty on all counts, all of them. And then Natalia got on the internets and was posted a picture of her, Varia, whatever his name is. What's his name? Jeffrey, and whoever those two people are in the back. Don't know. And then said, "I couldn't believe yesterday's TV news. I will pray for you, Jeffrey. Everything will be okay. Moik." And then she went on to say on her Instagram, "We all have our own stories. We have all suffered. We all are a little broken and a little shattered inside. Every one of us has suffered heartbreaks and has gone through failures. But no matter what we have gone through, it does not give us right to disrespect or disregard others on same journey. Respect others because you don't know what battles they are fighting. Walk with me for a while. You in my shoes and I in yours. And then let us talk. Natalie, did you know that this person was heretofore kicked off of the 90 Day Fiance like world because of these alleged allegations that at the time were alleged? And now they're no longer alleged because he was found guilty, which seems interesting. But anyways, that's a different topic. I'm not defending Jeffrey or going to appear to defend Jeffrey in any way. But yeah, girl, she was like, I'm going to show, oh, this is terrible for Jeffrey. This is terrible for Jeffrey. I feel so bad. Let me go to social media and tell everybody how bad I feel for Jeffrey. Instead of just texting that fool yourself and keeping it real quiet, you know what I'm saying? Texting him from a fake number and being like, Jeffrey, this is former classmate. Don't tell anyone I said this, but I'm sorry, is what she should have done. So now, people are like, girl, what are you doing? Why even get in the mess is the question. The question is, why even insert yourself? You don't have to. You're already in enough hot water. So anyways, what y'all saying? Hi. Yeah. 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 Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just like, you can support people all you want, but you are going to have to recognize that if you do, there can and will be consequences. Got my eyebrows done yesterday, girl. Oh, thank God. It was like a mission 5,000 to try to get them done. So there's that. Okay, I think that's all of that's all of the tea that I've got is that, oh, Debbie's going to be on the Single Life, y'all. Okay, she's done running around behind her son. She is now going to just go on the Single Life. Apparently, Colt has found love. Is that with Vanessa? I haven't been keeping up. Okay, look at this. You guys, look how good. Look at this is Glossier's concealer. This color is G1. Okay. Now you might be like, oh, Wahima, you don't need concealer. Okay. You're right, I don't need that much. But look at it. Look at my eyes. Okay. You can see it's the little dark circles. Now let me do it. You're like, I can't even see any dark circles. And I'm like, I see it. Don't worry. You don't need to see it because I do. Okay, we don't see the difference? Or we don't appreciate the difference? Rosemary watched the trial. I watched a little bit of it where he was like, yeah, I mean, I didn't even know exactly what he was talking about, but everything was like with a slight smile on his face, as though like, yeah, boys. I mean, she just fell. I don't know what happened. It was very much like, why are you smiling? And I get people, have different reactions to stress, but, coach yourself, fix that. Okay, tell me y'all don't see the difference. That concealer is awesome. Did you say Glossier? Yes, Glossier. Okay. Just look at the difference. It's subtle, but it's enough to like, yeah. Yes, she does. Okay, she had a lot of volume up here, and it was like one of her moles. But it was giving me very much giving me Eva Mendes. You're right. You ain't lie. You ain't lie. Okay, now let's look at the concealer on the other eye. Let's look at this eye. Okay, 67 people in the room. Don't forget to give a video a thumbs up. You guys were just waiting until 6:20. Or if you're on the East Coast, 9:20 to get this started. Right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Am I wrong to put this concealer on? I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I know I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. Okay. Let's put a little, forgot my brush in the bathroom, but let's just set it a little bit. What a great thumbnail. What a great freeze frame. Five after 6 on Sundays. Do a little blush. A little blusher, as some cultures might say. It's a lot of blush. It's a lot of blush. Yeah, no, it is really good coverage. If you're going for that natural look, I agree. Okay, that's done. Close this up. Let's put on a little bit of liner. Liquid liner in public, or putting it on not just in front of in my bathroom. This is about to be an experiment. Here we go. Sometimes what you just got to do is just go for it. Okay, that's all I'm putting on. I'm not doing. I'm gonna try to match it, and I can't because my eyes are different shapes. But we'll do our best. Okay, already messed up. Good. I did it. I did it. Joe, we did it. We did it, Joe. We did it. That will never not be the joke for me now. We did it. Joe, we did it. We did it, Joe. We did it. It happened. We did it. We did it, Joe. We did it. We did it, Joe. We did it. Good morning, Amsterdam. Welcome. Okay. And the basics of the most basic of basics. You know what I'm saying? Like, where were you in 1990? How long has this been the color? How long has Maybelline, asked you? Maybe she's born with it. I like putting on my whatever this is called, mascara, with the mirror a little bit below me, because it makes me feel like my lashes are actually gonna be able to be like seen. But the truth is, They're just as tiny as they were before I put this on. But you'd be surprised, just that little bit of definition makes my eyes look pretty decent. All right. Feeling pretty good about that. What time is it? Oh, we have so much more time. What are we going to talk about? Brenda. Oh, cool. Cool. I'm glad. What else are we going to talk about, you guys? What brand do I use for blush? This one is the oldest. It is called Merlot at Midnight. This is Revlon. This is very old, and it still has so much in it. This is a friend of mine gave this to me, and it's the only like raspberry blush that I have, because I either do like a neutral blush and then I have like a raspberry. Those are the two that I do. So that's it. No more makeup. This fun time is over. I'll change out my earrings. Maybe that'll add some pizzazz. Lone Star, welcome. You see, this is why I have to start at 30 minutes. So going forward, I will always start 30 minutes early. Just so I can get more people in the room, especially for 90 Day Fiance and Love After Lockup. I think it's important. Maybe not for Say What, because Say What has those dedicated audience members because you like our personalities. Not, it's not the same. I feel like I need to go blow my nose. You guys, I'm eating my almonds, chocolate covered coconut almonds from Trader Joe's. Delicious. What is this one? See, he still has the case for child abuse from when his son died. Really? Mujer, give us an update on your journey, please. Okay, yeah. Let me go blow my nose. It's crazy because I feel like I have to blow my nose. Then I go blow my nose and nothing happens. Okay. So, went to start the process again September. And, okay, so doctor told me, let's see, had the surgery in February. Had the surgery, felt like they cut out everything. I don't know, went into a little bit of a depression after the surgery. Don't know where it stemmed, where it came from, but I felt lacking. I felt like all of a sudden, just like, maybe if those of you who've had children can't relate, but it felt like something was removed from my body. And it felt like it was removed without my consent. And it's weird. It's weird. I felt weird on the inside. I also felt like my uterus, so much more than I've ever felt it, when I would go to the bathroom. I feel like it's only been like 2 months that I haven't actually felt my uterus being tussled after going to the bathroom. Because like, I was told that the bladder is behind the uterus, and as it fills up with liquid, right, it pushes up against it. And then once the liquid is released, I would feel that. Not from my bladder, but from whatever organ, the organ that was in front of it was my uterus. So I was still feeling it. And it was disturbing. It was disturbing to go walking and to like feel things moving. It was disturbing to sneeze and to feel it, not only in my like diaphragm, but like a little bit lower. So yeah, it was weird. It was weird. So I was feeling certain ways about it. And I haven't updated the channel because there's really nothing to update. I'm not super big on doing research, and like, it's not my thing. Like, someone's like, oh, you should research. And I'm like, I don't even know how to Google properly. So like, it's hard for me to like figure stuff out. Like earlier today, I was searching for like books to read, and it took me I just finally had to come to YouTube and like get a curated find a curated video about the topic that I wanted to talk, like I wanted to discuss. So it's like, it's harder for me to do research. I need just somebody to do a video on it and do whatever. But anyways, so I'd watched all my IVF videos here, and sometimes it can be a little lonely and isolating because most people, and I don't want to say this, I don't know that, but in my mind, most people who are going through IVF have a partner. And so talking to people in a Facebook group or three, I may or may not be in 3 different Facebook groups for single mothers doing IVF. It doesn't help me. Like it doesn't, I don't, it doesn't, it doesn't help me. Like I don't ever feel like, oh, I'm in this room with these women and we're all going through the same thing. And like, I feel that their support, like, no, it doesn't help me. So, but anyways, I'm in the room and I'm asking questions and I'm getting pointed this way and that. And doctor told me that I think I had an appointment with her in August or maybe June or July. And she told me, hey, everything looks great. How are you feeling? I told her what I was feeling. She's like, it's pretty normal. She's like, I know you really wanted to do this, so you can start the process in October. Okay. 'Cause she's like, I know it takes a while to even get to the place where you are implanting and everything. And I said, okay, so I'll do you one more. I'm gonna start in September. So in September, I made a doctor's appointment, and it was while I was traveling, and it was a video call or like a phone call. And she was like, yeah, great, let's do it. Tell me when you get back, or when you get back and you have your period, come call us the first day of your cycle, and then we'll have my nurse set you up with, we're going to draw some blood to see how everything's going internally with hormones. And then we're going to sign you up for HSG, which is the X-ray and radiology, where they pump the blue liquid through your system to see if your fallopian tubes are clear. And I said, bet. Cool. And then I realized that my job was getting really, really busy. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be traveling a lot during the latter. I mean, I was supposed to be traveling now, but everything's kind of canceled and got weird, got wonky. So I was like, okay, I'm things are going hectic, but let me tell my boss about it so that she knows, like, when I'm like, I have a doctor's appointment, that it's like not me being like, flaking off work. It's legit. So I've never been more excited in my life to start my period as I was in September. First day, called the nurse. Nurse told me, okay, go get this blood drawn, and then go the next day, get that blood drawn to see if you're pregnant. And then you're going to have your HSG on Tuesday. And that was the 28th. Then I got my results back from the blood that was drawn on like Friday night. And I was like, it was, I think Friday night or Saturday, I got the results. And then I just wrote my doctor after doing some research, because after I got the blood drawn, that like energy to do research popped into me again. And so then I started doing all this research, and I was like, what is the likely chances of me being able to have a baby via IUI, which is artificial insemination. And it was like really low because of my AMH. So my AMH, which is the hormone level that kind of tells them how many follicles or eggs you're producing. I don't know. I don't want to give you guys wrong information. I'm not an authority on this. So there's that. So anyways, so I was like, okay, so they want it to be between, like, for my age range, and for like IUI, they want it to be somewhere between like 2, I think, 2.0 and 5.36. Those are the things that are popping up in my head. My AMH is 0.66. So it wasn't even 1. And so I was like, oh, I could be spending money on an IUI when I don't need to. So I wrote my doctor, do you think based on these numbers I should do that? She's like, yes, you should do IVF. But there's this like balance where they don't want to tell you what to do. They just want to make suggestions, but not like tell you like what it is. So then she gets my results back officially, like they land on her table, and she's like, good news. You are no longer at 0.66. You were at 1.06. So it went up after your surgery, which is good. However, if you still choose to go with IVF, like, here's some places we suggest, good luck. And I was like, what? And I responded back to her and I said, why aren't you doing it? And she said, oh, Kaiser, which is the insurance and medical facility I go to. And if you are in Southern California, you know Kaiser. Um, Kaiser doesn't, they don't cover that. And so if you guys are not aware, Kaiser is a series of buildings, a series, it's like a healthcare provider, right? But you can only go to their facilities. And in Southern California, Kaiser's pretty much everywhere. So they have hospitals, they've got, medical offices. And so where I live in Southern California, like there's a Kaiser that way, there's a Kaiser that way. So there's no way I could not ever be able to go to a Kaiser. And even up north, when I've done stuff up north and I'm like, oh, I need to know where Kaiser is just in case I need medication. Like there's a Kaiser up there as well. So I was like, oh, they don't pay for it. But I thought, like, based on my job, I was like, well, then maybe my job will pay for it. But it's like, no, it's just the medical insurance that I elected for because they have Blue Cross, they have Aetna, which if I were to have picked Blue Cross or Aetna, while they themselves don't necessarily pay for the process, they have like a co-insurer or another insurance company called Progeny that does. Like Progeny's whole thing is all infertility. And so if I had Blue Cross or Aetna, Progeny would have been like the thing to use from them. But because I had Kaiser had no partnership with Progeny. So it's October, and normally my benefits, the enrollment season is in February of whatever year, and they don't kick in until like end of March, early April. So I was like, shoot, I'm not going to be able to do this until like early March, end of April. And then, I called the insurance to like double check all of that. And then when I went in, they were like, oh, we've changed it. Enrollment now is January to December. So starting the 22nd, 2022, January 1st is when you'll be able to enact new, insurance. And I was like, so then when is open enrollment? And my coworker was like, girl, it's in October. And I said, girl, what? And she was like, yes. And she showed me the email. And I said, oh my God, this is like Providence. Like I get the news that I cannot go forth on this journey. No, I can, but I would just like need a little bit more time, just finances wise, because when they said that Kaiser didn't pay for it, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to take out of my 401k and like, I'm going to have to sell stock and like do all that. I'm going to have to shuffle monies around. And so then I was like, I'm not going to do it this year because if I had shuffled monies around in October, I would owe that money in taxes or whatever it is that's going to happen in May or whenever taxes happen, right? April. And so I was like, no, I would rather not owe the money that quickly. So I'll just start it in January. I'll pull from my portfolios and pay for it starting January. That way I wouldn't owe taxes or whatever on whatever I pulled out until like April 2023. And so I was like, okay, that's how I'm going to do it. And so then when they told me that in January, Kaiser is going to partner with Progeny, and now Kaiser, if you are a Kaiser person, I don't have to switch to Blue Cross or Aetna. So all of my like life of being with Kaiser, because I've been with Kaiser for X amount of years, over 10 years. So like now all of that information and the place that houses a lot of my history isn't going to be kind of obsolete anymore. It's now going to, I can stay with that provider as well as get another bit of insurance. And so that's what's going to happen. So I don't have to necessarily shuffle everything around the way I thought. I think I'm still going to have to do it, but either way it goes, I will have coverage in January. So that's that. Okay, we've got people in the room. Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way. This is season... Girl, I'm not even prepared. I was talking about a whole other subject. Someone tell me in the comments what this is. What is this? Episode what? What is this? What is this? Episode 7 for sure. Season 3, episode 7. Okay, let me put everything on Do Not Disturb. But anyways, I hope that was giving you guys enough information. Thank you. Episode 7. Perfect. Let me bring up my notes. Okay, let's get all the branding together. Oh, let's take down Brenda's comment. Okay, let's change that. There we go. Great. I'm going to start this all over again. Let's pretend like the last minute and a half didn't happen. My first thing is Alina. That's what it says. You guys, here we go. Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way. This is season 3, episode 7. I don't know the title, but I never do. You guys know you're gonna like what you see here, so please go on ahead and give this video a thumbs up and share on any social media platform that you deem fit. This was a pretty good episode. It was a little hard for me to get through, and I don't know if it's because like Evelyn and Corey were thrown in, so I didn't care. And also I don't care for Steven's and his like, I feel like Steven has like a lot of spit in this part of his mouth, which gives me anxiety because I feel like at any moment he's just gonna spit or gleek on somebody because of all of this like saliva in the beginning part of his mouth. But anyways, if you guys would like to donate or give to the tip jar, please, you can use Zelle, you can use PayPal, you can use Venmo, you can use Cash App, whatever you choose to do. I am very grateful and very, very thankful. Okay, grateful and thankful, same thing, but either way, I'm both of those things. All right, so the first couple that we are going to talk about are Steven and Alina. Okay, Alina and Steven. Alina and Steven are who we are about to talk about. Okay. Is it called The Other Woman? It would be called The Other Woman because of Jenny. Thanks, Hard to Know. I see your comment. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just like not gonna go in any groups. I'd rather talk to you guys about it. I feel like you guys are, anyways. All right, so this is okay, so they're having their wine tasting, right? And this is where Steven chooses to drop the bomb about all of his premarital indiscretions. And there's a tiny thread of sexism in everything that Steven says and does, especially when it comes to the hypocrisy that he is living right now in his faith. Okay. There is always this, sometimes, let me not say blanket, sometimes in this, Christian world, there is this idea that everyone, you sin and you pray and you ask for forgiveness and you get up and then you get a do-over, right? So there's that thread. Now, not all of the time is that extended to women. So women who sin, they don't get to just like say it and get up and walk away. They have to usually deal with the repercussions of that sin. And I think that Alina is great because she is a very, very modern Gen X, Gen Z individual. And I'm starting to see in her something that I wish that I had in myself in my earlier years dealing with the church. So she is like, after she finds out that he has sinned, and it isn't chaste, she is like, and Steven is like, did you just take Brenda Bree, thank you so much for that. Thank you for that, Zell. I appreciate it. He's like, did you just take a sip of that? Did you just drink that wine? And she's like, did you just slept with other girls? And he's like, well, I'm sorry that I'm not perfect and not as chaste as you are. Oh, so now we're apologizing for not being perfect? That is my absolute number one hate of a thing that people do when they're trying to gaslight. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect. It's like, girl, nobody asked, no one is asking you to be perfect. We're asking you to not be a hypocrite. That is what's being asked of you. Not for perfection, but for you to think through your thoughts and think about how you treat other people. No one is asking for perfection. I absolutely hate that. When you're in a fight with a friend and you're like, hey, this is what you did. And they're like, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect. It's like, did nobody ask you to be perfect? Okay? We're asking you to not be selfish. That's what we're really asking. And so she's like, you're a hypocrite. And I don't know that you can be trusted, because you have put all these ideas out towards me, telling me that these are the things that I needed to be. And so happens I was that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if Alina wasn't a virgin? Just so happens that she is a virgin. So she's able to meet that chastity bar that unfortunately he's unable to meet. And he's like, well, just because I'm not perfect, that doesn't mean I'm not striving to be. And it's like, okay, listen, what's the difference between you dipping and soaking in a little il nana of 4 to 5 women than her having this sip, intentional sip of drink? Because you having sex was intentional. You are not a rutting animal, okay? You choosing to have sex was intentional. And he's like, well, that's why I didn't want to sleep in the same house as you, because the pressure. It's like some people, it baffles my mind that some people will act as though the act of having sex was a thing that they just slipped and fell into. No, there is a moment when you're making out with someone or you're being touched by someone. There's always a moment where it goes from, okay, I'm going to do this. There is that moment. There's always a moment like, oh, this is really great. And that moment could be like right when they touch you, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. Or it can be that moment right before it's about to, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, there is a moment. And for people to act like there isn't a moment is bananas to me. Because for me, there is a moment. There's always that moment where I'm like, yes or no, 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 yes or yes, 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 yes. And I could bring it back and be like, you know what? No, but I'm not gonna. I mean, as few and far between as my acts are, listen, I'm not gonna say no. But Stephen, who has all of his like religious fervor falling on his head, is choosing to say yes because he knows that all he has to do is repent. Clock me if I'm wrong on that. That is why church kids do what they do, because they know at the end of the day that all they have to do is repent. And specifically, women are the only ones who have to worry about actually bearing the burden of the shame of having sex out of wedlock if they actually come up pregnant. So this whole I fell and slipped into 4 to 5 vaginas versus you taking that sip, girl, absolute hypocrite. Absolute hypocrite. She's like, you wanted me to be a convert. You wanted me to read the Bible, but you out there, son, you out there. He's like, well, now I'm ready to move on and leave my bachelor life behind. Oh, your bachelor life? Is that what you're calling it? I'm going to go ahead and call it your hoe phase, which is what it actually is. But if you want to call it your bachelor life, okay. Hoe phase, bachelor life, same diff. So she's like, well, how many women's you made out with? And he's like, made out with? About 100. Oh, this dirty pocked mouth, mono having, kissing individual. 100? You've made out with 100 different women by the age of 25? Okay, I'm not judging. I hadn't. I don't think I've made out with 50 people at the age of 30, almost 39. So there's that. But you and I are running on two different, obviously you out there, traveling the world about that business, sucking spit, swapping spit with folk. Okay. How many have you been intimate with? 2 dozen, a baker's dozen, if you will. 24 vaginas he has had contact with. I mean, maybe he hasn't soaked, but there have been 24 women where has been happening or something, okay, has been happening. 24. 2 dozen, okay? 2 dozen. 2 dozen. Okay, 24. In case you didn't know what 2 dozen was. And sex, 4 or 5. I mean, the only way that Stephen would not remember whether or not it was 4 or 5 women is if he had dipped into their ponds several times to where they kind of got mixed up. You're 25 years old, about that chase life, and you don't know exactly how many women you've dipped your toe into? Okay, there's that. Great. I'm almost done shaming him. So, and he was like, she's like, when was the last one? And he says, last October. And she was like, we were dating then. And he's like, well, it was the beginning of the point when we said that we would start dating exclusively. And producers asked him what happened. And he's like, well, I went on a date. And then we were watching Star Wars and had sex. And I said, Star Wars and had sex. So I'm going to assume that this was October 2020. Okay. Pandemic. I personally was in Utah during that time. So I felt connected to him because while he's Mormon, I was around Mormons. October 2020. Okay. So they was watching Star Wars. And it was like, phew, 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 la 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 la. I don't know. Ray, is that her name? Ray was like running up the dune, and the black dude's behind her. What's his name? Oh, he's so fine. What's his name? From Attack the Block. I don't know what's that man's name? I can't even make the joke. And Steven is just like, I mean, there's so many jokes you can make with this one. There's a Star Wars situation. She doesn't know if she can trust him, and she doesn't know if this was the worst decision of her life. I said at 20, this isn't the worst decision that you could have made or probably will make. Like, you're not pregnant. You didn't actually marry him. Like, we're still in a place where it isn't the worst decision, but it's definitely a lesson learned. Okay. This is a lesson learned moment for Alina in her life. So she then the next day, she gets up and walks away, right? And she's outside and he goes, check, they pays for the drinks. Then he goes outside and he tries to like hug up and rub on her. And he was like, oh, Elena, I love you. Do you want a watermelon? Would you like a cantaloupe? Possibly a honeydew? And she walks away. None of that happened, but he tried to hug her. I imagine he was like, fresh fruit will solve this problem. You know? And so he follows her back to their apartment, and she locks him out because she needed time alone. And the next morning, she isn't talking to him still, but she has to go pick up her mother from the airport. Mother's coming to visit. So now he's like, well, maybe this wasn't the right time to tell her the truth because she's pretty pissed at me and I want to make a good example or a good impression on her mother. I've only met her mother that one time, X, Y, and Z. She goes to pick up her mother. Her mother's like, Steven. And then she's like, and then she's like, and they go back and forth about Steven and whether or not he can be trusted, and that she's found out some stuff about him that she didn't know, and that her mother's warnings were basically okay. Mother's like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. I knew she shouldn't have trusted him. He's weird. And then I hate her lenses that change color. I don't know, there's something about it that just is like, where I wanted to give her like cool mom vibes. Whenever her glasses change from glasses to sunglasses, I'm like, ma'am, who's doing that anymore? You look like an old person. Okay, just go ahead and get you some prescription sunglasses. Anyways, so she gets in the house. Steven presents chocolates, and they all try Turkish chocolates, and they're all like, hmm, hmm, and I'm like, this was the scene? Who chose this? And so she's like, well, I'm very tired. I'm going to go to sleep. And Steven's like, okay, I'll clean everything up here. He's really proud of the fact that he speaks Russian so he can communicate with her mother. And the mother is just basically like, well, Steven, you're going to have to prove yourself. You're just going to have to prove who you say you are, because right now I'm on my daughter's side and I would love to take her home to Russia and end this entire affair because it's stupid. And you're stupid. Get my bags. Thank you. So then they go into the the bedroom, and Alina has a conversation with her mother. I mean, this just feels like she's just going to come there and lay down the law and be stern. And that's, I guess, what this situation needs, what these children need, you know? But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to watch a whole like segment of the mother just basically saying you guys should break up. Yeah. So that's the end of their segment. At least that's all that I could recall. Now, next couple, let's just go ahead and get them out of the way, is Evelyn and Corey. So for the longest time, when Evelyn is complaining about Corey not being the person that he says he is, when she's being so mean to him, like, we really don't understand what the problem is. Like, I never truly understood why Evelyn never liked Corey, because from the very beginning, the first time I met them, I was like, oh, she's a raging bee and she doesn't like him. And it just felt like this, you know, humdrum Mormon kid went to Ecuador to surf, fell in love with this local girl, and this local girl is just being a jerk to him. Like, that has always been what it's felt like to me. I never understood. Oh, I lost a braid. I wonder where it came from. Anyways, I never understood exactly what it was that made them attracted to each other or made her dislike him. And honestly, I still don't know. But she was a little bit vulnerable this episode and almost like explained to us what the problem was. And if any of you guys know what the issue is, please let me know. Like, why was it that Evelyn never really liked him or like never really treated him? Is it because she didn't want to move to the US and he was pressuring her, or like, why were they just always so unstable? I never understood. Anyways, so Corey tells Evelyn, as she is like cleaning off a surfboard, that he's going to go look for a job. But really, what he's doing is he's driving an hour away to go meet with Jenny, because lo and behold, Jenny is in Ecuador. And I said to myself, oh, you're in trouble. This is a bad scenario. This is a bad scenario. You're in trouble. You shouldn't be doing this. You should not be doing this. So, but he does it. So she kisses him and he leaves to go looking for a job, but then drove an hour away. He hasn't seen Jenny in 7 months. Okay. So Corey initially lied to Jenny about being single. And 2.5 months into their relationship, he said, yo, I'm married. And Jenny was like, okay, well, go on ahead and figure that shit out, because I don't want anything to do with it. And he, I guess, agreed to do so. And then when he left to go figure it out, he just stopped talking to her for 7 months. So he felt like he owed her some kind of explanation. I don't know if she honestly felt that he owed her the explanation, because it seems to me like Jenny is a pretty good sport. She said that the relationship between her and Corey was magical and that it was beyond comparing to any other relationship that she's been in. And I was like, Mahika? Like, really? So whatever it is that Corey was putting out, Jenny was picking up, okay? But she says that it wasn't, you know, for her, and that she wanted him to leave and figure his shit out. And so that is what he did. And she, you know, obviously she's like, oh, I need to go because I have a date. You're not the only person who has a life. She says that if Corey hadn't been married, then this scenario would have been completely different. And so they ended up hugging it out and leaving on good terms. But it's just interesting because Evelyn says that Jenny knew the whole time and that basically Jenny is a whore and blah 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 blah. And I just am like, there's a fine line, because if you kick your husband out and tell him to go, and he starts to date somebody else, like I don't know what that means. I in my mind, if I wanted to stay with my husband, even though I was pissed at him, we would just have to live in the same place and work it out. There's not an option for me to kick him out and tell him to go about his business. So to me, even though he was married, and I know I've said in previous videos that like it still sucked that he cheated on his wife technically, but like if she was that pissed and she told him to leave and knew he was going to a whole different country besides his own, not his own country, like I don't know, I just would feel like if they were on a break, then they needed to have been on a break, and she can't hold whatever happened against him. But I think the bigger issue is that he lied about it, that he swore on his dad's grave that he didn't sleep with Jenny, and he told lies after lies in order to hide his initial lie. And I think that's the problem. And I couldn't be with a liar. So she says that she got fed up with Corey and she was tired of him not doing the things that he said he was going to do. One of those things was learn Spanish. And are there other things that he said he was going to do that he didn't do, and that she was just like, I can't have a partner who lies to me, or basically will be like Sumit and just tell me whatever it is I need to hear in order to shut me up, but then actually not do the things that they say they're going to do? Is that what's going on? So we actually see Evelyn crying and upset once he gets back and tells her about this. And she is like, who do you think you are? You think you, this white man with his blue eyes traveling around South and Central America, can just do whatever he wants? Do you think you're Brad Pitt? Because you're not, and you're not going to sit up here and play me. I won't be played. I'm the person that isn't going to be played. I didn't even want to get married. Okay? I told you in front of your whole entire 15-member family, when I was surrounded by them eating these dry ass tacos, that I didn't want to marry you. Okay? I'm the big one with the big balls in this relationship, not you. Who do you think you are? And when she said that to him, first I was a little bit on her side, but I was also a little bit like, girl, you've been with this man for like 6 years. Y'all have been fighting back and forth for 6 years, and you're going to look at him and tell him, who does he think he is, Brad Pitt? I'm sorry, who do you think you are, mama? Because I'm not trying to face shame anybody, but you are not giving what the girl thinks she is giving. Okay? I don't know. I just am like, y'all, listen, if you don't think he's Brad Pitt, and as somebody said earlier, I don't think you're Eva Mendes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like y'all are in the same class of look wise. So, I didn't do that right. I don't know. It just felt really like, I get you're hurt, but to basically be like, who do you think you are? Ugly. Okay, ugly. Okay, poor, broke, ugly. Don't speak Spanish. Gordo. Who do you think you are? Seeing other people and lying to me about it. It was a little like, girl, you are not. You are not. So, anyways, I just was a little bit like, didn't like that part of it, but I don't understand their relationship to begin with. Surfing with your blue eyes. So funny. And then she's like, what do you want from me? Do you want me to be grateful that you came back? Because I'm not. You can just go. I was doing fine without you. I didn't need you to come back, but you came back. And then you came back with a bunch of lies. And now I feel stupid because I told my family about the wedding, that we got married, but all of that is all canceled and we're getting a divorce 100% for sure. Then she's like, I hope he suffers. I want him to suffer. I want all the mosquitoes to bite him. And I said, girl, I cannot imagine somebody wishing mosquito bites on me. that person is in a world of hurt. Okay. I would be in a world of hurt if I wished mosquito bites on anybody. I would never do that because I'm a kind, generous soul. So, anyways, he doesn't know where their relationship is going to go from there. And that is the end of that. Listen, I can tell you where it's going to go. I hope down and never again. I hope we never see them again. Okay. We've got 120 people in this room. Somebody tell me how many likes we have. Can I get some thumbs up? Thumbs up before we move on. I think her sister is hotter than her. Which I can't get in this conversation. Santaria. She said, I hope mosquitoes bite you. 66. Oh, y'all are rude. All right, let's move on. Thumbs, 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 thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. Thumbs, 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 thumbs it up. Ooh, 75, girl. Yes, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Okay. So Ginny and Sumit. So in their segment, parents have agreed to go to a counselor. And they find a counselor who speaks English. I'm like, yes, whoever the producers are that found this person, good job. Also, this person has a tattoo on their arm. And I said, is that normal? Is that a thing? Indian women with the peacock feather? I loved it. I love seeing it. I know you don't see it, but I loved seeing it. So anyways, so the counselor was basically trying to just like marriage the culture and figure out like what's the best scenario for the parents. And so obviously Sumit's mother comes in with the fiery heat of the culture behind her, and she's angry about the entire situation. And they're like, who does this? What son does this? Marry somebody double their age. This is not normal. How are we supposed to deal with this? You know? And the woman is like, you're right, it's not normal, but you can see that your son is happy and they're happy. And we need to get to a place where they can be happy and you can be happy. And so the parents are like, okay, so what's going to happen when you guys break up in 10, 15 years? Like, what's going to happen? And I said to myself, why do they think they're going to break up in 10, 15 years? And Jenny's like, well, if I'm in a wheelchair, then, then that's it for me. This is the last relationship that I will be in. And then I realized that they're asking what Sumit is going to do when Jenny dies. And then he has to find himself a wife to take care of him. Who's going to take care of him? It's not normal for men of their culture who are about 50 to get married. And I said to myself, what? That's not normal for men who are 50 years old to get married? What about men whose wives die and they need I don't know. What do they go live with their sisters? Like, what's happening? So the fact that they're like, what's going to happen? Jenny didn't get it. But obviously, that's what's the concern. It's like, you need to find yourself a wife to take care of you into old age. And you are going to outlive this one. In fact, we are all going to outlive her. And who marries somebody who's older than their own parents? Wow. So the mother's like, just go ahead and what's she going to do? Let her go and live with her daughters then. And so they're just going back and forth, and they're just talking about how it's uncomfortable and how the mother is very mad because she has been with Sumit all of his life and she's very attached to him and she wants him under her roof. And that's the end of it. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, lightning strikes girl. And the mother is like, you know what? I want to move into their house for a little bit just to see how everything is going. Okay. I wanted to see if she's a proper Indian daughter-in-law. I want to teach her how to be a proper Indian daughter-in-law, if she can even learn. Because women her age can't learn. People her age can't learn. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm moving into their house. And Sumit's like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. And Jenny's like, what? 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 Nam Myoho Renge Kyo Hari Krishna Hari Hari Krishna 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 Hari Krishna Krishna Hari. Like, she all of a sudden takes her beads out because she's picking up a little bit of the conversation that they're having, but she's not fully understanding. And the mother, like the producer's like, where'd you get the idea? Like, who talked to you about the idea of moving into somebody's house? And the mother's like, no, nobody taught me anything. I just said, that's what I'm going to do. Just had the idea and I went with it. And Jenny then expressed to Sumit afterwards that she believes that the sole purpose of the mother coming to the house is to scare Jenny off. And I said, Jenny, you are not wrong. That is the sole purpose of that woman's thing, is to get into your house, shit on you, make you feel bad about everything you do, talk about you and tell Sumit how you aren't a proper Indian woman or an Indian daughter-in-law. And I said, you know why Jenny is not a proper Indian daughter-in-law? Because Jenny's not Indian. Not only is Jenny not Indian, Desi, Jenny is American, white. Like, it's not even that she's just not Indian. She's also not Indian. Like, she's like different culture completely. Okay? I was telling my aunt that because my aunt doesn't watch the show, but she sees previews. I don't know how she sees it. And so she was like, what about that old white lady that's with that Indian man? And I said, oh, this is the shakedown. I gave her all the tea. And she's like, so if you have 5 sons, you just have all 5 sons in your house with all of their wives? And I said, well, I guess, I don't know. I mean, imagine, some of the sons would move out. But I was like, traditionally daughters come and live with the man and his wife. I was like, maybe not in all scenarios, but I think, in scenarios that it fits, that's what happens. And she's like, oh. So I'm like, it's a huge culture shock for there to even be a situation, because in specifically American society, men are supposed to leave. Men are supposed to leave the house, buy their own house, and set up their own family. They do not stay with the parents. In fact, all kids are supposed to leave at 18. All of them. American households are like, 18, I'm not responsible for you, get out. Okay? And there's judgment for people who still live at home. Even if you're in school or not in school, there is judgment. Whereas in other cultures, right, there's often multi-generation households. So like, just because you're 18 doesn't mean you get kicked out of the house. Like, you are there if you're in school, or if your parents are investing in your future and therefore their future, they want you to stay and not pay any bills and live rent free for as long as possible, so that when it's time for you to then take over, that you can take over, because you haven't had all this other stuff that you've had to manage. Like, you can take over the family business, you can take over the mortgage, you can take over whatever, because you've not had to pay and do all this stuff up until that moment. But you understood the assignment. And the assignment was to go get a good job and find a good wife so that you can help take care of this situation. So anyways, Jenny's like, I think it's crazy that he even agreed to this without consulting me, and we're going to have to talk about it some more. But the fact is that she wants to move in my house, absolutely not, so that she could be watching me. And I said, Jenny, as a 61-year-old woman, I would feel the exact same way. Regardless of if I'm trying to make it work or not, the solution isn't you moving into my house telling me what to do, because I've been grown for too long to have you, who are younger than me, coming into my house telling me what kind of woman I am. If Jenny were younger, though, I would be like, suck it up and deal with it and let the mother-in-law move in with you, because that's what you have to do. Like, that is what you have to do. But because I know, 61, Woo, girl. Child, that was my requirement. If getting married, I don't know what this, I can't read. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Child, that was my requirement if in getting married am marrying someone whose mom is dead or living far away. Girl. Woo. Anna says, in Australia, it's very common to live at home whilst at university, and even once working. I only moved out of home when I got married at 30. Cost of living is super high. I mean, cost of living is high in the US too, but that has not changed this idea of when you're 18, Sakabo. That hasn't changed with like traditional American households. Like sometimes it does. Like there are some people, but there's also that judgment going to it. Like even for me, at a certain point in my life, like if a guy still lived at home, I was like, so are we supposed to have sex then? Because I still live at home because I come from a culture where we still live at home. But and then when I moved to New York City, and that's what happens in New York City too, people still live at home. So it's like it's too expensive in New York. So it's like, what am I are we sneaking? No. But I had my own place, so it was easier. The few people I had traverse my room. But like yeah, it's there's a definite judgment here. And it's because young people would like to get busy. And how you gonna get busy in your parents' house? And most American households don't have a basement or don't have a space for like the kids to go. You're just in your child bedroom. Quasi said, unless I can have a wing of the castle. That's so funny. At 61, not sharing my house with no one unless it's a huge house. And then Quasi's response was, unless I could have a wing of the castle. Yeah, I mean, it would have to be a pretty big house where, like, you know, spaces are isolated by a common space, right? You know, so some people do have it where you live on, you know, this side and then your parents on the other side, but not everybody got it like that. You know what I'm saying? It's too expensive. It is too expensive. JT, thank you for doing this. Thank you. 84 likes. Where the other 64 are you at? That's what I'm talking about. Where they at? Where y'all at? Eh? Where y'all at? Oh, where y'all at? Hey, where y'all at? I just made that song up. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, so then they go outside and they have a conversation near a lot of monkeys. Okay, they are at, in fact, the monkey god's temple. And there are a lot of monkeys. And Jenny gets scared. I'm like, Jenny, you are better than me, girl. I would have been like, absolutely not. There are too many wild animals around here. Because listen, I'm trying to think of in the US, is there any kind of animal that we just have like moseying around that isn't domesticated besides rats? Because cats and dogs, even though they might be strays, they come from a domesticated lot. We only got rats that just be roaming around, and in broad daylight in front of people, it's really only the rats of New York City. There is no other wildlife, maybe raccoons, but mainly if they're out during the day, something is up because they sleep during the day and they come out there is no animal that just be out and about in the US except for bees and mosquitoes. You know, like all those other rodents, like marsupial type animals, they come out at night, and even then they don't just be in the town square. The monkey god's temple got bananas for days. Them monkeys was eating it real good. Okay, real good. Squirrels, but do squirrels just be about? You know what I'm saying? It's rats and pigeons. Okay, it's rats and pigeons, chickens depending on where you live. Deer. Do the deer just be about is what I'm saying. Them monkeys. Okay, you cannot compare a monkey and a deer, okay? A deer, they don't have hands in which to grapple and scratch your face with. The deers don't be coming near people. You don't be sitting in a park and a deer come up and be like, munch, munch, next to you. Madam, Google Toronto raccoons on YouTube one day. I will. Oh, don't worry. I will. Do not. Oh, wait, what's everywhere? Deer in Colorado? But what I'm saying is, do they be coming out of the woods, walking down Main Street, chomping on foliage? The monkeys was out, okay? The monkeys was out. Them monkeys was out. Okay. So anyways, she got scared and they got up and left, and I said I was 100% with her. When I saw that monkey with a banana, I said, oh, somebody's feeding them. Somebody is feeding these monkeys. Okay. Girl, I didn't take any notes of Benny and Ari. Like, what notes were there to take? Girl, they cried, okay? Just a lot of crying. And I felt sorry for neither of them. Let's just move on to them. Okay, next couple that we are going to talk about is Ari and Biniyam. And so this is the episode in which Biniyam allows Ari to leave. Apparently, the night before, he had taken her passport, which she found to be super aggressive, and he gave it back right away. And I said, then why mention it? Because it does sound crazy. And when she's like, but he gave it back right away. I was like, what the fuck? Take my passport? Oh no. That's like someone taking your keys. If I'm not drunk, come on, pass me them bad boys. That's like, I honestly, another thing I can't stand is when people snatch things. So I'm like, any kind of taking of my personal belongings where someone's like, oh no, this is mine, you cannot have. I think I would be irrational. So anyways, bully for her that he didn't have a black eye. Now, not that I condone domestic violence of any kind, I don't. So she then presents him with a ring. She gets on hands and knees and says, I'm really sorry, but I have to go. This is for Ari. This is for my family. This is for, I'm Ari. This is for Avi and my family. They really want to meet him. And he's just like, please don't leave. Don't leave. Please don't go. And I said, why would she stay? I am all for her leaving. I got a comment on the last video where somebody were like, Wahima, I don't agree with you because he has his rights too. He's a parent. Some countries, one parent has to sign off to allow the other kid to leave. I mean, parents have to sign off. So like, I don't know if this in the US, I don't know where that is, but apparently there are places where like if a mother wants to take the child and leave or the father wants to take the child out of the country, there needs to be like signed paperwork. And I'm like, that could be forged. Is it a notarized form? Because it would need to be notarized for it to be legit. So that you could take your kid out of the country just in case, like, people are just snatching up their own children, kidnapping them, taking them back to whatever their home country is. And so, like, oh, he has rights. He has all these things. And I'm like, he does, but he would not be scared if he knew he was doing right. He wouldn't be scared. And he's like, well, that's what I don't believe. Listen, I honestly, truly do not believe that he didn't know something was up when his ex left with the kid the first time. I want to know what he did. Why that woman took the child away from him and then now doesn't allow him to see the child. Is she that evil and mean-spirited and petty? Or did he do something? Or did her family do something? Or is he not providing? Or what is it? What did he do? And there's very few things that I would say like, oh, that makes sense. The reason why she's not stopping. And when I say she, I'm not talking about Ari. I'm talking about his first wife. Let's call her Barb. So like, what was the reason why Barb has decided that he can have no contact with his child? Because that's messed up. So I just want to know. That child has medical issues also. Oh, Monica says he cheated. Yeah, but I don't think that's a reason to not like do FaceTime or video time with the child. Like I could see her not coming back because of that. And this maybe like when the child is old enough to fly on their own to go. But even then, like, what if he tries to keep the child because she's had the baby for 9 years and then he's like, I'll take the baby for another 9 years. So maybe she does have to go. But like, video chat is something that can easily happen. I could see she being like, I'm not going to take him back to Ethiopia anymore. If you want to see him, you need to do things that put you in a place to where you're able to get a tourist visa. Like that to me is like, okay. If that's him going back to school, getting a job, doing what he needs to do so that he can prove that he'll actually come back to Ethiopia if he flies. I don't know what the tourist visa like parameters are in Ethiopia, but Benny needs to be able to travel to the US, period. COVID or not. She should be able to get that. He's a poop husband who gallivants all nights with his friends. He likes, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lily says he doesn't paint the whole picture of everything, like with his girl. Yeah, I need to know more. I mean, you'd be surprised because my husband's baby mama threatened to never let him see their daughter ever again, all because she was pissed off that he brought me some jewelry. Oof, yeah. Oof. Chickens in Miami. Oof. What is this? I'm thinking he didn't contribute to his child's upbringing. Oh, I mean, he doesn't contribute to this child's upbringing. So we know that. We know that. So anyways, that's, I mean, like, I don't feel sorry for him. He was upset. She packed, they got to the airport. He wanted to give the baby one more kiss. And then she's crying and they're both crying. It's a whole cry fest. And then she gets on the plane and comes to the US. Okay. I saw it in the original gossip with their wedding pictures and stuff. Ooh, oh, okay. Cool. The child has medical issues too, which is why she brought him to the US initially. JT says you can only make so much turning females' buttocks into drumming instruments. You're not telling a lie. You're not telling a lie. Okay. So anyways, because of all that, I don't feel sorry for Benny at all. I don't feel sorry for his angst. Like, if he was doing right, then these people would come back. And we get like a glimpse of the next episode where her family's like, Ari, be realistic. Are you going to live in Ethiopia? What are you going to do in Ethiopia? You got yourself a stand? What are you going to sell? Jewelry? What are you doing? And so she's getting that kind of conversation from her family, which I think is kind of hard. It's a lot of pressure when your family's basically telling you all the things you know too. And it's just like, Benny, figure out how you can get to the US. If you want to see your kids, figure that out. Okay, next couple that we are going to talk about are Armando and Kenny. This was a cute little segment. My first notes. Hannah has on Easter egg blue pantsuit with platform espadrilles. Now, that's all you need to know. Okay? I don't know where they went. I don't know what they were doing, but I know what Hannah was wearing. And she had a beautiful blue bow in her hair as well. Okay? She brought her bebe into the wherever office they were. So basically Kenny and not Sumit, what's his name? Armando. It's like Jenny, Kenny, Armando, Sumit. Okay, so Kenny and Armando are trying to get their marriage license. First time they went in to get their marriage license, they were automatically denied because of, they were denied because their marriage would not add population to the species. Could you imagine that? I mean, listen. To put on an official document in any country, and believe me, I don't think it's just Mexico, it could very well have been the United States as well. The reason why your marriage is not sanctified by the state or by the country is because your marriage will not yield any children, and it's for the survival of the species that they don't allow them to get married. The survival of the species. Do you know how many people are on this earth? Okay? People is going to have children, regardless of if there are gay people in the world. Like, well, is this what people think? Do people, is there a contingency and faction of folk in this world who believe that if you allow folks to love who they want, regardless of gender, race, whatever, that there will be some kind of attack on the species to where like humanity won't go forward? There are too many people on this earth. Okay? And there are several women around the world who have multiple digit children, who have like 10, 11 kids. Okay? We will be fine. We do not need to stop gay marriage or same-sex marriage for the species to continue. Do they know how this works? That's why there's epidemics and pandemics every so often. To cull. Like, that's what happens. It's natural in nature. It's natural in nature. There are natural disasters. There's all kinds of things. There are communities or groups of people, not people, what is it called? There are species who die out every single day. And believe me, humans are not one of them. Okay? If anything, we're going to kill each other just by wars and other unhealthy things. But allowing same-sex marriage is not going to be one of the things that majorly attributes or contributes or takes away from whether or not the continuation of the species. Jesus. Like, that is so crazy. That is such a crazy thought. There are women who will have more children what they know to deal with. Okay. There are men who will continuously spread their seed around this world. Do not worry. We will not end the species because of same-sex marriage. But anyway, so that was the first time a person there told them to go to the human rights lawyer to get, I don't know, some kind of document saying this is a human right issue. And then they'd be able to approve it, maybe, maybe not. So they went and did that. Now they're on their way back and they get there and they provide the documentation. And the man's like, Providence. Hey, guess what? Happy to you. You do not need this paper anymore. In the entire country of Mexico and in this state, we are now able to grant same-sex marriages. So you don't need this. So it's fine. So they kiss each other. They're happy about it. And in the US, and you guys can tell me, I don't know, in the US or Canada, because there's some Canadians here, there's some Canucks here. What do you need? Like, do you need permission? Like, what's a marriage license? Like, do you just go and just pay for it, or do they ask you questions? Like, what would be some reasons that they would deny a marriage under normal circumstances? Because I knew you had to go get a license, but I don't think I really even like. I don't even think I just don't even think. I'm like, I don't know how that happens. I don't know. Even if every person came out as gay tomorrow, it doesn't mean that there was species within. Yeah. I mean, also, like, there are gay men who want children and there are lesbians who would want children. So if everyone just went to a same-sex marriage, we would find a way to have these kids. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why do you think that people who are in same-sex marriages don't want children? People want kids. Okay? People want kids. There are some even transgender people who don't change what their physical stuff is on the inside so that they can have children. I'm following 2 couples right now that the trans man, he is like, I'm, getting a lot of, what is it called? Not disassociating. It's a lot for him right now, going through having a baby, seeing himself as a man and then being pregnant. What is it called when they not dystopia, dysphoria. Is it dysphoria? Anyways, it's a painstaking, arduous process that these 2 people that I'm following are going through, but they want children. And so he's gotten off of his medications so that he can have these babies. Okay. So it's going to happen. Dysmorphia? I think that's what it is. Dysphoria. Dissociative. It's one of these. It's dysphoria, I think it is. And I'm like, he's using his eggs. She's using her sperm. And they having that baby. So it's just crazy to me that there are people who think that it wouldn't happen. Or it's ridiculous. It is absolutely going to happen. Regardless if everyone's in a same-sex marriage. Okay. I think that's it. That's it, you guys. What time is it? Oh yeah, it's 7:15. I have got to get into bed. I was married in Tennessee, no questions asked. Anything else? I did the court marriage and they asked if I've been married before and that everything was clean, so no double marriages. Okay, so that's what they do ask. The application for marriage license in the States is like a background check that you aren't related or married to other people. Okay. Cool. Anna says, the priest who married me did the marriage application prior to our wedding. He asked us questions, including if we've been married before, if we're related to ECT, and we didn't have a separate office. Oh, so they do check to see if people are siblings. Why? Now, listen, I'm not a proponent of incest, but I'm saying, like, if these are two consenting adults and they want to risk the chance of having kids with chromosomes that are too close to each other, who am I to tell them they cannot? And again, I'm saying I am not pro-incest or saying that anyone should do it or that it's right. I'm just saying, why would they stop siblings? Amsterdam, go to sleep. Go to sleep, girl. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Because of the children. Nasty. Listen, let people listen. It's weird, but listen, it's illegal. I know it's illegal, but what I'm saying is, anyways, I'm not going to get into this conversation. It's against the law to marry your parents or your siblings. Okay, I'll accept it. I'm not saying I'll accept it. I see why you shouldn't marry your parents because there could be some weird ass shit going on. To prevent three-legged kids from happening. Okay. Inbreeding. Yes. I mean, all of that is true. There's a lady that went to jail for marrying her daughter, as she should. I mean, as she should. Don't try to get on this, your daughter's Social Security situation. Leave her alone. If you messed your credit up, listen to that. Okay, you guys. So that is the end of this. It's mostly genetic. Second and third cousins marry all over the world because there's enough of a distance, but immediate relatives is very risky. Yeah, I mean, I know that, but I guess I'm just like, I know that, but it's interesting that it's illegal simply because of that. Like, I feel like there should be another level of, like, it's illegal because of the abuse that probably came out of this. It's illegal because of, like, whatever. But the genetic stuff, I'm like, what's the evidence, or where was the evidence that, like, the genetic stuff is going to, like, be the downfall of humanity? It's pretty bad if you're closely related health-wise for the kids. Yeah, like, to me, your second cousin is like, so your first cousin is somebody that you share grandparents with, which to me, like, obviously that's off limits. Your second cousin is somebody that you share great grandparents with, which is like, unless those great grandparents are alive, like, you can't even, like, who is that person? And your third cousin is someone you share great grandparents with. You know? So it's pretty far. Like, to me, second cousin is not like weird. Your your great grandparents, especially if you guys are all different. Okay, so let me just break this down for you in a family tree. Let's say Ella May and George had 10 kids. Okay, Ella May and George has 10 kids. Okay, right? Those 10 kids, let's say they have 5 kids each. So let's say that those 10 kids are your grandparents. Ella May and George are your great grandparents. So it's the kids of the kids. Like, it's like Ella May, their kids, their grandkids. So Ella May's grandkids' kids. That's a lot. Ella May's grandkids' kids get together. They don't even know each other. That's your grandparents' parent. Your grandparents' parent. That's how you guys are related. The state would eventually become responsible for the healthcare cost of insidious offspring. They don't want those problems. I get that. That makes sense. Not Ella May. Not Ella May. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying? It's only close if those people are still alive. But Ella May and George have kids. and it's their kids' kids that are getting together. Okay, so what about this? Boom. LMA, let's say LMA and George have 10 kids, okay? One of those kids is George at the beginning and LMA, another LMA at the end, okay? They're siblings. They're 10 years apart, okay? So George Jr. and LMA Jr., 10 years apart. They have kids, okay? Those kids are first cousins. Their kids are second cousins. Now, their first cousins once removed to the people above them, but they're all second cousins at that point. And it's like, they're 10 years apart. George done stepped out on his wife. So George's kids, right? Half of them ain't even got the same mama. Okay. So that adds in another genetic blend right there. So, like, you only share one grandparent, right? Because they don't share the both great grandparents. Because George stepped out on his wife. Bibbity boop bop bang. Okay. So then we've got George the Third, who's the illegitimate child of George Jr. Okay. And George the Third got with Sue and they had a kid. And that kid want to marry LMA Jr.'s granddaughter. You telling me that George the Third illegitimate can't marry LMA Jr.'s granddaughter? Y'all. That is not close at all. That is not close at all. Anyways, there's that all. I just broke it down for you guys, okay? LMA George, illegitimate George the Third, wants to marry great grandchild or grandchild of LMA Jr. Would you be for this if both LMA and George's last names were Lino? That's fine, because then I don't have to figure out changing my last name. Also, how many Smiths are there in the world? How many Andersons are running around? Listen, you can marry somebody with the same last name and not be genetically related to at all. It's a no for me. I almost got picked up by my second cousin at a family gathering. Y'all only share great grandparents, domestic gordita? Jesus. And maybe only even one great grandparent at that. Not even both of them. Just kidding. No, I'm asking if George was your child and LMA was family. Wait, you mean George the illegitimate George the Third was my child? Okay, so that means that I stepped out with a married man. Nah, I think I'll be okay with it. Jasmine Houston. Girl, I'm with you on this one, but this is a dicey conversation we're having. This is all just theory. I'm just talking about grown adults making choices and just theories of that. It's a nah for me. I'd not do that knowingly. Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. I would have to, it would have to be like worlds of like degrees of like separation. Got my DNA done. Amazingly how strong genetics are. I feel like there are enough humans in the world that we don't need to be clocking our own kin. Clocking our own kin. Hilarious. All I'm saying is just like adults. Like I'm not talking, I mean, I am talking about like obviously family, but I'm just saying like as in an adult world, I'm just like, I need to know why. But that state argument makes so much sense. So thank you for that. It's a no. Have you seen they can always adopt. I have an older relative that married her first cousins. Kids were fine. I was told, but it was a bit of a scandal. Oh no, first cousin to me, like first cousin, no, absolutely not. No, first cousin, it's too close. That y'all got the same grandma. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But your dad's first cousin's child? Or your mom's first cousin's child? Because you don't know that first cousin. That first cousin that of your, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, wouldn't do it. My mom's cousin and his tried hitting on me at Nana's funeral. They were disappointed when my mom told him who I was. Yeah. My nephew adopted his wife's son, so he got the last name, but not blood relative. I also suspected there was a second cousin backstory. All right, the people have spoken. It's a no for second cousins. All right, I'm just like, throwing it out there. I'm not trying to shame nobody. All right, you guys, thank you guys so much for being here for an almost 2-hour live. I'll be doing this going forward where I'm going to go live about 30 minutes before and then do a timestamp. That way it's better for all of those party involved and everyone can get into the room. Yeah, you guys, it's Sunday night. Have a fantastic week. Okay, I will see you on Wednesday with Say What with Juan Chris, and I'll see you next Saturday for Life After Lockup. It has been fantastic. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share on any social media platform that you deem fit. It was wonderful having a kiki with y'all, and good night. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.